I think we are ready to start. So thank you everyone for joining us today. And so we're recording, we're on YouTube, so I think we're all ready to go. Thank you. So we'll call to order 7:31. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10-4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision Channel 118 and Vios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. The board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Mara.
Thank you, Ms. Ellis Foster. The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere to business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Sorry, I was muted. Roll call, please, Mr. Mara.
Burns.
Here.
Callie.
Here.
DeCaro.
Here.
DePrima.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Giordano. Lent.
Ms. Lent called me and contacted me. Unfortunately, she cannot make it today.
Silikowski.
Here.
And Ms. Ellis Foster.
Here.
Quorum exists.
Excellent. All right, if we can all please rise for the pledge. Once I make it. There we go. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
United States
and
of
to the
America,
republic for which
to the
it
republic
stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
and to the republic
indivisible,
for which it
with liberty
stands,
under God,
one
and
nation,
for all.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
justice.
If I could ask everyone to please remain standing for a moment. We have a memorandum. Move the board acknowledge the death of Thomas Ruggiero, retired district principal, and the board expresses its deepest sympathy to his friends and family. Okay, thank you, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. We'll kick off, I believe, our ethics corner. We had Mrs. Callie.
Yes. Code of Ethics Corner highlight of the month. The board member refuses to surrender his or her independent judgment to special interest or partisan political groups, or to use the schools for personal gain or for the gain of friends.
Thank you. All right, so we'll start off. We have the approval of minutes. We had a few of them. Could I have a motion, please?
Callie will move.
Ms. Callie, thank you. Can I have a second?
Kara will second.
Thank you, Mr. Kara. Any questions? Any comments? No? Okay. Roll call, Mr. Mara, please.
Burns.
Yes.
Callie.
Yes.
DeCaro.
Yes.
DePrima.
Yes.
Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski.
Yes.
Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Thank you. So we have no student representative yet. I don't believe we have any recognition for this meeting. So we will jump right into the superintendent's report. Mr. Cittadino.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have a few parts of my committee. or my administration doing portions of the superintendent's report this evening. I'm going to start off with facilities, and Mr. Mara, who's going to get us up to date on some of the summer projects that took place around the district. Mr. Mara.
Thank you, Mr. Citadino. So even though we've been in a terrible period, we've still managed to get a number of projects completed that were budgeted for, and also using some of the funds that came to us from the pandemic funds that were made available through the federal government. So I'll go school by school. So for the Cheesequake School, and this actually began before the summer started, we did a final cleanup of the entire building. We moved out all the boxes and furnitures, relocated it to all that to other schools, and we modified the programming for Sayreville to adjust the temperature controls in the classroom. So pretty much the Sayreville transaction began without any problems on July 1st. In Sandburg, we are installing a new PA system in the entire school. It's a state-of-the-art system. The installation is still ongoing. It should be finished in the next week or 10 days. In case you haven't driven by Sandburg lately, I suggest that you do. Wisdom Way and the entrance into the principal's office has been completely redone and looks absolutely beautiful compared to what it was for a number of years. We also power washed the bleachers at Lombardi prior to the graduation, so they were sanitized. In Cooper School, we are again doing a boiler replacement project, and that project is still ongoing, should be finished shortly. In the high school, we power washed the main entrance facade. We also upgraded much of the landscaping on the left side of the main entrance. The big project in that building, however, was the aquaponics lab renovation. That is complete and ready to go once children and teachers get back. And we relocated many of the copier machines that were in Cheesequake to different strategically placed areas in the high school. At the administration building, we also did the landscaping upgrade there. In the grade 9 center, we relocated an electric meter from the interior of the building to the exterior of the building. That sounds like a small project. It cost us about $7,500, $5,000 to $7,500 to do that. However, it will make us eligible for a potential rebate under the ESIP program of up to $50,000. And then in various schools, we've done line striping in all the parking lots. We've done paving, concrete repairs everywhere. We also are doing security upgrades to make us compliant with Alyssa's law. There's two parts of that project, the switch part and the straw block part. Most of that is being done, and that will not be done and completed until the end of September. We upgraded all of the servers that we need, that utilize the camera CCTV system throughout the district. So we're good for another 7 years there. And also our solar project is complete, and we are buying energy generated from 5 schools at a cost of approximately 1/3 of what we pay Jersey Central Power and Light. Though that's a summary of the projects that took place over the summer during a very, very difficult period, but all went well without too many problems. Thank you, Mr. Citadino.
Thank you, Mr. Mara. You kind of went over the Alyssa's law stuff kind of quickly. Just want to let to the public so that they kind of know a little bit about this, more of the specifics of that project. That is, as it is, again, we don't like to give our security playbook, but this is something that's been in a lot of the papers as requirements of Alyssa's laws, and it's deeply rooted in the public law so that they know. So the requirements are, and will be available at every school, is that a silent alarm is available at every school, much like a bank would have, in which a someone with access to that area where the alarms are available can get a police response quickly without alerting anyone to the need. And also at the same time, it triggers a strobe light to the outside of the building to letting people who might, or students who might be outside, or staff that might be outside, or staff members coming back from lunch break, that there is an emergency situation. Also could be for transportation as well. We have transportation that goes between each building, dropping students off for various visits and so forth. So just to keep people alert in the case that, God forbid, there's an emergency within a school. So all things are required, and I think will serve us well in the future. One question for you, or Mr. Parton. MyCentralJersey.com ran a story, and I want to make sure the public has the correct facts about our litigation with the certain bus companies. And people might think that, we're not responding to it in a way that we're looking to not pay hardworking drivers. But that's actually the furthest from the truth. We're actually trying to do that, but certain requirements must be met in order to do that these bus companies are not aligned to. So I don't know if Mr. Parton wants to respond to that, or Mr. Mara.
I think
Can we respond to it?
Only very briefly, Mr. Cittadino, that there is litigation going on, and litigation is really just the end game on what have been existing good faith negotiations on what percentage is to be paid from spring 2020.
Right.
We don't quite have a deal yet. A bus company or two got frustrated about that, and we're working it out. That is about as much as we can say publicly.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you noted that it's going through a good faith process, and
Yes.
there are several companies that work through that good faith process.
Yes, the vast majority of companies, we were able to resolve that issue by the end of the spring.
All right, and it's not just an Old Bridge; it's a joint venture through the majority of the districts in Middlesex County.
That's correct.
Thank you.
It is actually, Dave, it's actually statewide. It's not just Middlesex, it's the entire state, and it's all the contractors throughout the entire state.
Okay, well, I appreciate that clarification. I remember when it had started with the local BA in the neighboring community, putting us all together. So I'm glad that we were able to work it out with the majority of the transportation providers throughout the state. Dr. Hoker, can you give us up to speed? We've had a great past 2 weeks. Last week we had our Summer Institute, and this week we have our administrative in-service. So can you walk us through that and what our staff can look forward to for our in-service days next week?
Certainly. Good evening, everyone. We had 145 staff participated in our Summer Institute. Okay, sorry. I thought I was muted. Last week, which is an introduction for our new teachers and an informational opening for all participants. We ran the event using Teams with a virtual EdCamp component, hosting 10 breakout rooms simultaneously, all run by district staff. This week, we are hosting our Administrator Summer Retreat. We have covered policy and law updates, new building and facilities protocols, mental health and personal well-being, special services, and instructional updates. We will continue training tomorrow in social emotional learning, the opening checklist, technology integration, and right to know training in addition to other critical items. Last Friday, we were able to share our links with our staff to the annual mandatory training that must be completed in addition to our professional development provided next week during our in-service. Information will be shared with staff this Friday regarding next week's responsibilities. And I'm going to just share my screen real quickly. Ms. Ellis Foster, are you able to see everything? Okay. So this is just an example of a spreadsheet for the secondary groups, and included here are the 3 days of in-service, September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. All of our staff will participate in building-based orientations. They will have department or grade level meetings. They will each participate in a training with our tech integration specialists. They will complete teaching strategies regarding remote learning, mental health and wellness and social emotional learning, diversity, inclusion, and equity, self-care, and additional time will be spent organizing materials for student distribution, setting up classrooms, planning and preparation. In addition to the staff, our team will be launching resources for parents, including access to Teacher Coach, which we have partnered with. Teacher Coach will provide training and access to webinars with an emphasis on mental health and well-being, social emotional learning, dealing with the pandemic, and diversity, inclusion, and equity, among other topics. It is important to our team that we continue to emphasize the well-being of all, and that we provide supports for our administrators, our staff, and our parents in order for our students to be successful. We really have had an exciting week. A lot has happened. And I have to say that I am very excited for our staff to come back and for our students to get involved in our remote learning, having experienced it myself last week with 145 participants and being able to utilize the new features that have become available over the summer in Teams, and have the breakout rooms and move in and out. We even left meetings and came back and relatively seamlessly. Our tech integration specialists have been integral this summer and have been working nonstop to prepare resources for our staff and for our parents. And they will be meeting with our administrators tomorrow, and they will be meeting with me later this week to make sure that everything is ready to launch for our parents. Our staff is eager to come back and has been asking about their training and what will be available, and they will be able to start that by Monday, but they will have the information by Friday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hoker. I do want the board, it's really my report, but Madam President, did you want to reflect upon the goal building that we did last week as well?
Oh, sure. Last week, every year, the board and the district, we create our goals for the year. We don't have them on this agenda. We will have them on September, I believe, as well as the board goals. So last week, the board met. We had our representative from the New Jersey school boards, where we talked about what we wanted to do as a district this year, and adding on and building on to what we have in our strategic plan, focusing on 3 core elements: academics, the whole child, and fiscal responsibility. So you'll see those again. Next week, I believe it's on the 2nd, the board, we get together again to go over our board self-evaluation, and we'll have board goals for those members on the board. And then we will present those and vote on them. I'm not sure if we actually vote on them. I guess we just present them in the September meeting, kicking off the new school year.
Okay, I just want to, and I'll help you out there. I'll just go over the goals as they were, I guess, developed with full participation from the board. Excellence in education is to continue to enhance innovative educational opportunities for all students in accordance with the needs of the community and our strategic plan. So needs of the community was placed in there as a general term in which we can keep working towards. Obviously, each year it seems that the needs of the community may vary. And even as this year, as we're still reducing reductions in state aid, there are obviously needs to the community that we're facing as we face a global pandemic. And even looking at the spring and the beginning of this year, as having our students learn remotely, there's obviously a need from our community to have access to devices and Wi-Fi so we can work through that. So that's a very important portion that was added. And fiscal resilience is to continue to evaluate options to improve our financial reserves due to significant decreases in state aid, and continue efforts to educate our stakeholders on the district's financial situation due to the significant reduction in state aid. And the whole child, we modified this as well as we look at different social issues facing not only our community, but our nation. Continue innovate initiatives to address student physical, social, and emotional needs and instill practices that eradicate bias and discrimination from our learning community. So all things that we are proud to adopt as goals for this district, and we look forward to developing plans within them so that the board can see evidence of these goals being accomplished throughout the school year. So thank you very much to the board members on that very collaborative process we went through. And that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sedino. Thank you, Dr. Hoker. We'll go back and just go back to our agenda so everyone can see it. Okay, so that also included our progress towards goals, I believe. Mr. Mara, do we have any correspondences?
No correspondence, Ms. Ellis Foster.
Okay, and we have no special committee reports. So now we'll go on to hearing of the residents on any agenda items only. Let me just put that up. So, so this is for the public to speak on any agenda items only. We will have our normal public hearing at the end of the meeting on any topic, any topic. So if anybody from the public wants to speak on any of the agenda items only, you can call in. If you're a participant on Zoom, if you can just raise the hand icon, we can unmute you and let you speak. And if you're on the phone and you call in on the phone, if you just hit *9, that would be the indication that you would like to speak. So I'm just going to wait a second to see if there's anybody. I'll give you a second to either raise your hand or call in. And it sounds like the rain hit Old Bridge. I don't know. So, all right. So I don't see at this time any raised hands. So we will close this portion of the public comments and we'll be back to it at the end. If at that point there's any other comments, we'll have those. So we will move into policies. We have a group for first reading, and then we also have one to approve for the second reading. So if we can just start with a motion.
Callie will move.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Can I have a second, please?
Carol, second.
I don't know. Dunn came in pretty strong on that one, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, he seemed like really adamant about it.
Oh, I'm adamant.
All right, any discussion on any of the policies? No? All right, so we will move the vote on the homeschooling and equivalent education outside the school district policy. If we could have a roll call, Mr. Merrill, please.
And Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Thank you. Now we will move on to curriculum and professional development 1 through 7. If I can have a motion, please.
Carol, a motion?
Mr. Caro, can I have a second, please?
Callie will second.
Callie, thank you. All right, any discussion? On 1 through 7. Okay, seeing none. Could roll call, Mr. Merrill, please.
Mr. DePrima, Mr. DePrima, Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster,
Yes.
and Mr. DePrima once again.
Yes, Joe, you don't hear me?
No, we couldn't hear you the first time. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Resolutions 1 through 7 pass.
Thank you. On to athletics 1 through 3. If I can have a motion, please.
Callie will move.
Dunn will make a motion on athletics 1 through 3.
Hey,
Callie first and Dunn second.
There's a delay here, I guess, tonight.
It's the storm. All right, thank you. Any comments, questions? All right, seeing none, if we can have a roll call, please, Mr. Mara.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 3 pass.
Thank you. Moving on to finance 1 through 17. 1 through 17. If I can have a motion, please.
Carroll, motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Carroll. Can I have a second?
Burns will second.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Any questions, comments on any of the items? None? All right, if no questions or comments, can roll call, please, Mr. Mara.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's doing that.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 17 pass.
Thank you. All right, nothing on non-certificated personnel office. Non-certificated personnel operational 1 and 2. If I can have a motion, please.
Carroll, motion.
Dunn move items 1 and 2.
Carroll will second.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none, could we have a roll call, please, Mr. Mara?
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
No, okay. Non-certificated personnel, other 1 through 5. If I can have a motion, please.
Callie will move.
Callie, thank you. Second.
Carroll will second.
Thank you, Mr. Kara. Comments? Mr. Silikowski?
Yes, we have a retiree in this area, Linda Feinberg, September 1st, 2020. She had 27 years
Wow.
of service as a paraprofessional. I wish her a lot of luck. And we also have one more retiree tonight, and that's Rosemary Latano. She was McDivitt kindergarten teacher for 18 years. Her father was Patrick Torrey, the first and second superintendent here in Old Bridge. I wish her a lot of luck. She was a heck of a teacher. She had my grandson I had her as a teacher. Great lady. Good luck.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, then no comments, no additional comments. Good luck, everyone who is retiring. And if we could have a roll call, Mr. Mara.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 5 pass.
Okay, we're moving on to certificated personnel 1 through 27 and once we get the motion, we do have some administrative corrections. But could I first have a motion, please?
Dunn will
Carol,
make a
motion?
Dunn will second.
All right, Kara, and done. Thank you very much. So we do have some administrative corrections. We are removing item number 2. And then within the attachments, on attachment D4 and attachment D5, we're removing one line from each of those in the approvals. So any comments, questions on any of the items? Okay. Seeing no comments, again, we had a retiree, so we wish Rose the best. And if we can have a roll call, please, Mr. Mara.
Okay, so we're voting on item number 1 and then items 3 to 27 with the administrative corrections in resolution 2 and resolution 7, correct? So
Yes.
Ms. DeCaro,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Solikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ellis Foster,
Yes.
resolution 1 and resolution 3 to 27 pass.
Thank you. Non-certificated personnel transportation, 1 and 2. If I could have a motion, please.
Burns will make the motion.
Burns, thank you. Can I have a second?
Carol,
Dunn
a
will
second.
DeCara, gotcha. Okay,
DeCaro got it? Okay.
yes. Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please, Mr. Mara.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Solikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. DeCaro,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster,
Yes.
resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
Thank you. Supplies, equipment, and services, 1 through 4. If I can have a motion, please.
Callie will move.
Thank you, Mrs. Callie. Can I have a second?
Burns will make the second.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Any questions, comments? All right, roll call, please, Mr. Mara.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Solikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. DeCaro,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster,
Yes.
resolutions 1 through 4 pass.
Thank you. Moving on to transportation, 1 and 2. If I can have a motion, please.
Callie will move.
Thank you, Ms. Callie. Can I have a second?
Dunn will second.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Any questions, comments? All right, roll call, please, Mr. Mara.
Mr. Solikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. DeCaro,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster,
Yes.
resolution 1 and 2 pass.
All right, on to miscellaneous, 1 through 8. If I can have a motion, please.
Move miscellaneous items 1 through 8.
Callie will second.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn, Ms. Kelly. Any questions?
Yes, please. I guess this is Joe or Dave. Number 4. That's, I just want to make sure I got this correct. That's what we voted on last week about changing the first month or so to remote only, correct? Number 4?
Yeah, it was part of the revision to the road back application we did that was submitted to the state. It required us to amend the calendar slightly so that school instruction remotely will start on September 8th, and that the in-service days will be front-loaded for September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And I believe November 3rd is Election Day, and that will be a learning day now instead of an in-service day, and that'll be a remote learning day as directed by an executive order of the governor.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Ellis Foster, then I'd like to separate number 4 for voting, please.
Okay, but I just want to make a clarification. This is not, is this just the calendar changes because of what we voted on? Or this is nothing about how we're delivering education. Number 4 is the days we're delivering education. Is that correct? Instruction?
Yes, it still requires the 181 days of instruction. It's just 181 days of instruction are in different locations.
Right. So I just want to clarify. I'm not sure if Mr. Dupree was asking, is this going 100% virtual? This is not the, number 4
It
is
has
not
nothing to
about,
do, right. It has nothing to do
Going
with
with
how
the
the
days
instruction's
school
being
starts.
delivered. Just what the which days
Right,
are school days.
But September,
Right. This is not your reopening plan, Sal. This is just the school calendar.
but isn't that 6 of one, half a dozen of another?
Yes.
If it's the school calendar, September 8th is the first day of remote learning, correct?
Well, the board already took action last week on the reopening plan, so this calendar is the result of it. It is certainly related, but it is a different issue.
Okay. Mrs. Ellis Foster, I'd still like to separate number 4 just to avoid
Okay.
any confusion, please.
all right, yep. Mrs. Burns, I saw your hand up. You had a question?
Yes, I just wanted to clarify. So instead of starting, I believe, on the 3rd, now we're starting on the 8th, and that's basically the major change? Is that accurate?
Correct, and also taking consider the executive order date, November 3rd, now being a day of instruction instead of a in-service day.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
And again, I think this expands, this gives another day to the staff for professional development before they start in with the students. Is that correct too, also?
Yes, it just changes the, instead of having it in November, we're going to have all 3 in September now.
Okay, anyone else, any questions, comments? Okay, so do we want to just vote on number 4 first and then vote on 1, 2, 3, and 5?
Whatever your pleasure, Madam President.
Okay. All right, so why don't we do a roll call on number 4?
Okay. Burns, Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. DeCaro,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Abstain, please.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster.
Yes.
Resolution 4 passes. I feel like I missed somebody.
Yeah,
Mr.
you did.
Silikowski, I'm sorry.
That's
Mr.
all
Sil-
right. Yes.
Okay, resolution 4 passes.
Okay, great. Now let's vote on 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. DeCaro,
Yes.
Mr. DePrima,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Ms. Ellis Foster.
Yes,
Okay, 1 through 3 and 5 through 8 pass.
thank you. Board business, there's nothing in board business. Okay. So now we'll move back on to the hearing of residents on any district items. So let me just get this up for everyone. So again, if you want to, oh, I'm on the same thing. Sorry. If you want to speak, please in the chat, just raise your hand. I mean, I'm sorry, in the Zoom, if you just select the raise your hand icon and we can unmute you and allow you to speak. If you are on the phone, please hit *9, and then we also can unmute you if you want to make any comments. So I'll give everybody a second to make any updates onto their computer if they want to speak? I don't see anyone. So I'm gonna give a last call. If there's any comments you want to make, raise your hand. We'll give you unmute. Or if you're on the phone, *9. All right. All right, I see no one from the public indicating they wish to speak, so we will close the public portion. And we'll move on to old business. New business. I'll just give a clarification. Earlier, I didn't have my calendar in front of me. The board will meet on, and the administration on September 9th to do the board goals and self-evaluation. I'll send out a reminder to the board members about that, as well as we have till end of next week to complete our self-evaluation. So I'll send a note out reminding everyone of those dates. So that will be coming up. Any other board members? Anything?
Can I just, I'm going to ask Dr. Hoker just to speak to one item as before we sign off with parents and go into executive session. The Dr. Hoker had just an update for parents expecting information about students, pickup dates, and any information that needs to go to parents, students, as far as a cohort assignments with teachers and so forth.
Okay, so there will be information coming from building administrators, building principals to parents regarding the distribution of materials that will start to take place at the high school September 1st through the 4th. And then at the elementary and the middle schools, their distribution will start on September 2nd through September 4th. The portal for student information, class assignments, teachers, that will open on August 31st for all parents. There will also be a device in the portal, and this is accessible right now, is an acknowledgement that needs to be signed off on by parents prior to going to the schools to pick up their devices. So this will be an important component that the parents have to go into the parent portal, acknowledge the device, identifying, there will be a question asking if you want a device. And then there will, if the answer is yes, then requesting that you acknowledge the documentation that goes along with the responsibilities for taking that device. If you do arrive at the schools without the acknowledgement, you will be asked to sign off before picking up an item. And any students who currently have a device, we won't be distributing a new one unless there is any question about the device that they have. So that additional information and specific schedules will be sent by the building principals within the next few days. And the distributions will go similarly to the way that they went at the end of this school year to pick up student belongings. Thank you.
Dr. Hoker, because you broke up a little bit, I just want to make sure you said middle school and elementary school pickups are the 2nd through the 4th.
Yes.
Okay.
So on September 1st, staff members will be putting packages together, materials together of student workbooks and any other resources that we have, including the HP streams that will be distributed to students. The high school, they are tentatively scheduled to start on September 1st and will be just distributing the devices. So that's why they'll be able to start on that day. And their devices are being configured almost as we speak. They were working on them today and will continue through the next few days.
And I have one other question. So I'm not sure if it's you, Dr. Hoker. Because I think another one that's been lost a little bit is also hotspots. So, help we can provide for families who may not have internet, who may not have strong enough internet because maybe multiple people are working. How is that going to work? I don't know if you can provide a little information on that.
So we have through the Digital Divide Grant, which we are just, I believe we've submitted it. It is in for review, and we have one component that we are waiting for finalization, but we have a tentative agreement to provide those hotspots, and our devices are configured in advance. So they will be distributed, and then I'm putting it simply, as flipping a switch, and then the internet access will be there once we have that security from the Digital Divide Grant, which we are waiting on confirmation, unless Mr. Citadino wants to add anything to that component, but I think I have stated that accurately.
The only thing I would add is that, yes, we're configuring the devices so they would themselves be in possession or so forth, formatted with the Wi-Fi hotspot within it, so that when the licensing it becomes available through the Digital Divide Grant, we can just turn it on remotely, and students that have the devices would have access to it. We're very fortunate to get the devices this week, as you can imagine, through all of the Digital Divide Grant, CARES Grant that's gone on. As devices are being shipped to the country, they're not even hitting a warehouse. They're being sent right to schools and businesses, as businesses are continuing to work from home initiatives and expanding their work from home initiatives, looking at the fall. So personal devices are become very hard to come by, and even the materials to build them overseas has become rare and hard to come by. So we're very fortunate to get them all this week through MRA, and we would plan on using every hour that we have available to get them out to our students on time.
I just want to add a shout out to our tech department, who has really been working feverishly to, I'll say, bag and tag the devices. Every device is being placed in a bag and with student name and portal so that they can be tracked. So this is a huge effort on their part that is continuing.
And this is a great initiative going forward for years to come, having a personal device, a bag to protect it. It's identified for you, so that when we have the ability through the proper legislation to, no longer have inclement weather days, that any time we would have that would be remote learning days. And it'll really be a game changer for education, and our calendar that we build, that we will be able to continue school remotely no matter what is going on in the outside world.
Great. So again, just to recap, that by the end of the week, all parents will get an email from their school principal outlining pickup. If you have an old, already have one that you want to return, get a new one, any of those things, the dates will be there. And then once they get that, if they have a question, if they have a conflict with the date or anything like that, they should reach out to their building principal.
Correct.
Okay, great. So basically, got a question, go there, maybe not Facebook, to get really what the answer is. Might be the best way to do that. So.
That would be most helpful.
Great. And that's it, and the building principals are there now. They may not be available all the time because of all the training going on right now, but that's, at least right now, is your best point of contact. After the 31st, when you find out who your teacher is, that person will certainly be available to answer questions also. So, and I know students are eagerly awaiting those assignments. It's always the fun part of the year. And so that's not changing. So, and as long as we're saying that in comments, I want to give a shout out, good luck to all of our alumni. I know a lot of them are starting college this week, whether they're also still remote, whether they're maybe going to be able to go to campus, especially our freshmen, going for the first time. Good luck. Wear your mask, stay safe, don't go to a party, take all your precautions, but enjoy it. So we do have an executive session. So before we go to executive session, anyone from the board, anything? Nope. All right, so Mr. Parton,
You need a motion for executive session for matters of personnel and attorney-client privilege.
Oral motion?
Thank you, Mr. Kara.
Callie will second.
Callie, Mrs. Callie, thank you, and we will not be back.
Who was the, I'm sorry, who was the first?
The first is
Kara.
Kara.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So we are going into executive session at 8:21 p.m.
All right, everyone, have a good weekend.